vorstellen, die leider erkrankt ist, die Ita. Und ich übernehme das jetzt einfach einmal und eröffne das kurz mal. Und sag, wie üblich hat der George eine gute Idee. Sorry, we're English. Right. Yeah. On parle français ainsi? Italiano? Oui. Okay. Sorry. Here, based on an idea of George Leitner, who used to be the agent outside of the US for James Brown, Ray Charles, and some other pretty known acts, I suppose. He was discussing with me about the shift in the role of agencies and what the changes in the record industry has led to, for the overall situation in the music industry, both for live and for artists and for record sales, etc. And we found out, let's try to discuss that with some of our colleagues in other agencies, how they experience whether there is a shift at all and whether there is a drift or maybe even already a direction to be seen. And that's maybe the first question here. Is there a change in the role of agencies, or what we do currently, what we need to do, or what we are forced to do? Is there any absence of someone within the industry who is missing, be it publishers, publicists, agents, labels, producers, A&R, whatever? I think that's the overall situation of the team, which you normally need to make an artist known and successful. And the question is, which of these roles do we need to take over as agencies? Which of these roles can still be found somewhere within the labels or maybe outside of them? That's what I pose as a question first to Thomas and Valentin, because what George thinks I know, so he will be the last one.
Maybe the youngest thought, because he's actually working as an agent. I'm a promoter, Okay. My name is Thomas Schiefkwitsch, and I work as a promoter at Barracuda Music. But obviously we work with agencies, and I'm well aware of the role of agencies, but maybe Valentin stuff.
It's funny because we discussed before, we have like 3 different generations here from agents. We all studied actually here in this building, but at different times. I'm obviously the youngest, and I only work 10 years in music industry now, and for me, like the role of the agency and like together with major labels, I don't know this time. It was long before my time as an agent. We mostly work with managements, or sometimes when artists are still in the developing phase, with them directly together. I don't see a real big change in this direction. So maybe, this question is a little bit more for you guys. For you're really a longer time here in this business.
Yeah, well, I mean, we obviously discussed how it was studying at this building at the times where we were studying here. But the thing is, I mean, I've done this now for 29 years, and I mean, I started to work as a promoter before the internet existed. So I mean, obviously there has been quite some change in everything, in the way we deal with things, from a very old school approach, which partly still exists these days, I think, to a completely new approach. And I mean, my company, we do everything. We do acts from a very small level to up to stadium level. Age-wise, we do very young acts, as we promote the Frequency Festival, for example, as well, to the Rolling Stones, for example. Yeah. So I mean, obviously there has been a big change. Yeah. I can well remember all of a sudden, even the old schoolist agent discovered that it's time to focus on online promotion for the artists they represent. Yeah, so I mean, it's back in the days. I mean, it's when you ask an agent about anything about marketing, yeah, they say, well, speak to the label. Yeah, I mean, these days there are hardly any labels. Yeah. So I mean, it's their job to take this over. So I mean, of course, it changed a lot, yeah. And as a promoter, working with agents, who I get the acts from, yeah, I can very well identify that there has been a huge change. Yeah.
How many of you are actually here promoters or working as managers? The role of the manager, has more or less stayed the same. The only thing that has really changed is that the gatekeeper is no longer the record label, but in a way, the agency and the promoter. And when you have a new act that you want to present, you'll go to Thomas and say, look, I've got a really hot act for you. And Thomas will look at it and look at the potential. And you'll have to have some social media data to prove that this has potential. And suddenly you get a dynamic with a good team to build an artist from zero up to become a winner. When I started in this business 40 years ago, we as agencies very much were shifted around by the record labels. So when we decided to do a tour with Shaka Khan or James Brown or whatever, the record company would tell us and say, you know what, you have to change the time period of your tour because we decided to release the album in the third quarter instead of the second quarter. So we basically were just following the orders of the record company. And that has definitely changed because the role of the record company has diminished in a way. And the record companies have become, in a way, caught up in a whole marketing mix, where labels are still important, but you have the same companies now wearing 5 hats. And if you look at Live Nation, they have a management company, they have a booking agency, they own venues, they own the ticket distribution system, and it remains to be discussed how well this is going to do our music scene, especially when it gets to younger acts. But you see that concentration of power happening in Europe. I mean, do you see Thomas being dictated certain shows being part of event team, or how does that work? Because
No.
Thomas's company is also part of a big international organization.
We used to be an independent company and sold the majority of the shares in 2020 to CTS event team. Yeah, so which means we are part of big network now as well. Yeah, but I can definitely say that we do not feel any obligation by the heads of the big network. Yeah, we have to do this or have to do that. Yeah, no, it's obviously today's event team is a big ticket vendor, which means that we are obviously obliged to sell our tickets through their network. That's their main concern, yeah, obviously. But now it's a bit different, like with Live Nation, yeah. But I think even in Live Nation, yeah, I suppose that is everybody in the room aware of what Live Nation is? if somebody's not aware, I can explain that as well. Yeah, but Live Nation as a worldwide acting network, yeah, I think they realize as well that it's necessary not just pay the big acts a lot of money to get the worldwide touring rights, but to set up local networks in different countries, yeah, where they have not independent but independently working bookers, yeah, who have their own roster, yeah, just to make the whole thing a bit more organic, I think, yeah, because I think obviously if you just buy the big tours, yeah, and ignore the rest, yeah, I mean, you can make a lot of money, obviously, as Live Nation proves, yeah, but you also lose on certain things, yeah, and I think that there is a change in the process as well, yeah, but obviously I'm not here to discuss Live Nation problems, yeah, I mean, but it's as the role of the agency shifted, yeah, the role of the promoter has shifted as well, and we face other challenges than we have faced 15 years ago, obviously.
Well, you know, originally I'm coming from the record industry. I used to be CEO of BMG here for 10 years in the 90s. When I left BMG and Bertelsmann 2001, everybody told me, well, you had the lucky punch, you took the right moment, and I wouldn't have expected that the downhill fall would be that steep. But anyhow, in real terms, sometimes it's history repeating, and we can always learn from history. The major companies, the major labels, developed from buying smaller labels and the individuals, be it Island or Chrysalis or all the others, A&M, RCA. So they all were developed by totally individualistic personalities, very focused on a certain range of music, sometimes like Island for reggae or whatever, and building up a major company. Now, what they found out, let's say much too late, but anyhow, is that if you start to organize everything on a big scale, you are losing the individuality, you are losing creativity, you are losing repertoire knowledge, because nobody is able to know the repertoire of everything. So suddenly they found out we need to split it up again. Do some satellites, like BMG did here in the 90s, pretty successfully with Logic and with Gun Records and all this stuff. And I think a similar approach needs to be taken on the live music industry. In former times, the live concerts were the marketing tools for the record industry to sell records. Nowadays, the records are a marketing tool, or the songs online are the marketing tool to sell tickets. So you need to take that as the main shift, the paradigm shift in real terms, and to understand that if you look at that, it doesn't make sense, like Thomas just said, to really get a conglomerate of huge Live Nation or Eventim or whatever international touring companies, because you might at the very end find out that you're losing money. I mean, actually everybody of these companies is earning its money only from the ticket sales, not from the live business. And actually that means that it hasn't really changed that as an artist you need to have your own very individualistic, very euphoric team of a manager, of a publicist, of a PR guy, of a social media personality, someone in the team who is able to do all the postings, all the stuff, push it, and by the end of the day, you'll find out, that's it. If I talk to radio people, I'm very often surprised because they don't get any clue about that they are on the downside, yeah, all the time, yeah. But none of the ORF guys will ever tell you, because I mean, who in the room has listened to radio during this week? Okay, still some, yeah, yeah. Still a radio in the car, I suppose. Yeah. Only the car. Yeah, but that's it. Yeah. So I mean, there's a change. There's a change on that. Yeah? So if you're not existing in the social media and in the Spotify's and whatever, yeah, there's no radio promotion necessary at all. Like we just discussed. Yeah. For bands, I mean. Valentin just came yesterday from a show with 2,500 people in the arena. Yeah, this is an act which is certainly never played in radio, right? More or less. Yeah.
More or less.
How does that marketing function?
In South Tyrol, yeah, they are played.
Maybe.
No, Valentin, it would be interesting to hear how does the marketing work for some of those artists that you cater to? I mean, Valentin does Bilderbuch and a lot of very big Austrian artists, and how does that work? Yesterday, 2,500 people.
Well, like it depends from act to act, but I think the foundation is like a good foundation of a management team and a creative artist who like has the ideas, and the manager who gives them the freedom to develop their creativity, and from there on they build up their marketing.
You get involved with the marketing of your artists?
Yeah, sometimes like it really depends like how deep is the connection. We have very different kind of collaboration with our artists. It depends very much on the size of the act. Yeah, I mean that's obviously the biggest act from our side. We are only the promoters in Austria for them. Sure, we develop like a live strategy with them, like which kind of venues fit for them. For example, we had the famous Schönbrunn shows together with Barracuda, where like that was the very good fit from location to the band. So we sometimes work really close with the artist in developing a strategy, which venues fit and which markets are like from like territories.
Different counties.
Yeah, counties.
From county
like,
to county, yeah.
In Austria.
Right. I mean, what Harald mentioned earlier is that, and this is an interesting phenomenon about our whole industry. Yeah? Our whole industry is very much driven by individuals that have some sort of entrepreneurial spirit, and that are driven for a passion. And it's you know, the white collar guy with his tie who's just trying to be pragmatic, like in the post office, is not the guy who develops an artist, and is not the guy who gets into our business in the first place. On that level of building up musicians.
But maybe, sorry for interrupting you, but maybe I can jump in. And what Bali said about promotion of very special acts, I mean, it's in the meantime, I mean, obviously we promote very young acts as well, yeah. And a colleague of mine, he's the manager for Bibiza as well. So we are actually not, I mean, this is the only act we manage, yeah, and he's not managing the act within the company, yeah. It's on his own. It's on his own right, yeah, in his own company. But then again, we are involved with very young acts as well, yeah. And I can certainly say that, I mean, as a promoter, we try to present a good marketing mix still, yeah. I mean, it's obviously everybody is 24/7 in front of his iPhone or whatever smartphone, yeah. And online promotion is the most important tool, no question about that, yeah. But then again, we still, although radio is not what it as important as it was some years ago. Yeah, we still have barter deals with the radios. Well, we still post to the street, yeah, because everybody is on the streets at a certain time of day, yeah, and I mean it depends on, yeah, because street postering obviously is much more expensive than online promotion, yeah, and you cannot target that well as you can do that at online promotion, yeah. But with younger acts, yeah, I mean we are facing discussions with acts, yeah, where they say, well, we don't want you to post to the streets because we want to save the money, yeah. Some of them say, we don't even want you to do target posts, yeah, because they think they can approach the social media things much more efficient and in a cooler way than we can do that, yeah. And so that's we are facing these problems, yeah. And I mean that definitely did not exist 10 years ago, yeah. But the thing is, I mean, we should not forget that it's a very young industry, yeah, because 50 years ago there was no music industry, yeah. I mean, if we compare that with other industries that are existing, yeah, I mean, this is just very very young, yeah, and obviously develops in a very quick way.
Well, this is the reason why, for instance, our company, we've existed now for over 40 years. We are now taking on 5 new agents in the next 1.5 years. And we're looking at people who are, you know, young, who have experience already in the business, who have the passion, who have knowledge about a certain segment, as small as it may be, but have knowledge about what they're talking about and the music that they love. And then you're going to be a great promoter in the bigger sense of the artists that you're working with. And like you said, Thomas said, it's a dynamic industry. It's driven by the young, and we elderlies, we have to sort of give over to the young to develop the new talent. Yeah? We've done our job with the old. Yeah? So.
Yes.
What's your opinion of print media? Talking about like investing some money in print, is it still a thing for younger artists? Or do you feel like
Print.
save your money and
Like advertising in magazines, or what do you mean
Yeah.
exactly? Okay.
or like investing money in PR that
Okay.
is focusing on
Okay. The question was if it's important to focus on print media, like for example advertising, or also to hire PR agents who like then create articles or something like that. From our side, when we do show promotion, we think about 3 ways. The first one is like online promotion. Then we have like you also said print, like with posters and stuff. And sometimes we also hire PR agents who then work with newspapers or make like giveaways with tickets and stuff like that. So yeah, sometimes, especially if they like the bigger the concert, the more media mix you make with a thing. But yeah, I think it's still relevant, but also like the online advertising is so comfortable and like good that you only do it like with really big shit. But maybe
It's
Thomas can also
diminishing.
Well, I mean, I can say that I have a subscription of a daily paper at home. Also because my 12-year-old son insists on a daily paper, which he wants to read at the breakfast. I mean, he, like myself, we share the sports section of the newspaper, obviously, at breakfast. But but then again, after frequency, having read what the biggest daily papers write, about such a festival, I mean, I really ask myself, is this relevant at all? but then again, I was invited to Oya Festival in Oslo at the beginning of the month, yeah, and we were sitting there, and all of a sudden next to us there were 3 people just testing food, yeah, and I asked them, are you guys food critics? Yeah, and they said, yeah, we are food critics. Yeah, and I asked them, what do you think about the food? Yeah, and they said, you can read that tomorrow in the paper. Yeah, and I said, unfortunately I'm not able to read Norwegian. Yeah, but then they said tomorrow there will be a big article in the biggest Norwegian daily paper. Yeah, so I mean that's maybe a different approach. Yeah, and maybe because I really love to read print. I mean, I also have a subscription of the Ballester football magazine at home. Yeah, so I know that there are not so many people interested in that anymore because they read it online. Yeah, but then again, I think maybe the media here should reconsider their role as well, and what people might be interested in reading, and then it would be more relevant again, yeah? And not just say nobody's interested in print anymore. This is why we stop it, yeah?
Well, I think if, let's say, it's difficult to take borders or counts, but unless you look at a show of more than 5,000 people here, there is no need for any print or PR here, unless you don't want to, on the long term, here, do what really is necessary to establish an artist here, to tell stories about an artist here. I remember one time when we were sitting together with Clive Davis on a management meeting here, and we discussed about the difference between Europeans and Americans. And so he's really, I mean, in his vita, you won't find any failure, though there have been several, but anyhow, yeah. But he stated rightly so, you know, you Europeans, you make hits, we build stars. And the truth about it is that if you want to establish someone on the long term, and you have an artist who is really strong enough and knows that it's a long way to go, yeah, and is desperate to do it, yeah, then it does make sense to hire PR to work on the print as well, yeah, because you will need everything around it. But unless you have the basis for an artist or for a band, and you want to go more mainstream, yeah, there is no sense for that. If you have normally we always said you need to have a up-tempo or let's say at least mid-tempo hit for an artist, and if you have that, yeah, you follow up with a great ballad, yeah, because the great ballad, yeah, the up-tempo hit will take the youth, yeah, and the younger ones, yeah. The ballad will take the mothers, yeah, and go mainstream, yeah. And that is true for most of the artists which you really look at and which have been established. And for example, if you look to Austrian artists here, that is like Fendrich with Blonde, or I Am From Austria, or with Christina Stürmer, yeah. Most of the people don't remember really Mama Marachabak, yeah. But if you remember, you find out that it really paved her way to the mainstream, and suddenly the elder generation, everybody knew about Christina Stürmer. So it does make sense to have a story about Christina Stürmer in the newspaper.
Any other questions? Alex. No, but, you know, I mean, there are certain media that are more relevant for promotion for certain types of artists. Like if you look at the people, you know, the promoters who take out adverts for shows, it's very often aimed at an older audience. For instance, André Rieu, they normally take out adverts. You know, and also the show acts. For instance, productions just like Abamania and you know, all these sort of you know, Holiday on Ice, Disney on Ice, those sort of family-orientated shows. They tend to also utilize print much more than an underground band that will appear at the Flex. And in fact, it can be counterproductive. As Thomas mentioned, some bands, you know, would feel it would be uncool if they were in the Kronenzeitung and had an advert.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them refuse to do interviews there, of course, yeah. Yeah, well, because they don't want to be identified with what they write about, yeah.
But what is interesting is that all in all, you know, the whole system of how to promote an artist and build him up has really become an art in itself. And we have a very good friend of ours, Dominic from Roller Music, and we discussed this yesterday, and he said we are now with one artist being exactly very precise to which social media, which target group, which age group we're trying to reach. They have a limited amount of budget. And one of the big differences to the early days of the music business is, of course, that the entry level at which an artist can produce and make his music known is much lower. So you have the amount of artists that are now producing music and going on the market and fighting for the dollar of the audience has increased vastly.
I would say, I mean, you should try to cover all fields, because especially with younger acts, I experience that some of them don't even have a Facebook page, because Facebook is obviously for the old people, But then again, I mean, it doesn't cost you that much work to set that up. If you have already your Instagram and TikTok and whatever thing, I mean it's not that much work, to set that up, and I mean those people that think that Facebook is uncool, they will definitely not look at Facebook, and not just if they see that somebody who wants to be cool, has a Facebook page as well, that they point at you and say, you guys have a Facebook page. So I mean, that's I would definitely recommend to cover all fields.
I totally agree on that. I mean, it's a replication issue anyhow only. So people who are telling me, well, we don't have a website and nobody who takes care of it, because you don't need it anyhow. I mean, that's ridiculous. If you post on Instagram or whatever daily, or at least bi-weekly or whatever, it does make no big effort to do it as well on TikTok, on whatever, on Facebook, on your own website. Just place it as a news, and then you have it. You don't need to figure out on that. Funnily enough, one aspect I wanted to take a note on is maybe it's real to find out that size does not always matter. Sometimes it's maybe better to stay on a certain level of 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 visitors and people, and not aim for the stadium shows. Sometimes you'll find out that getting bigger doesn't earn you more money. And to quote on that, I just received an email from a French partner and promoter who is doing a K-pop band here currently, and we are trying to set up a show, for example, also in Turkey, which is difficult because it's you need to take into account the Ramadan period. So, but anyhow, but he quoted to me that please take into account if I quote what we ask for, because it's let's say a 1,000 capacity venue which we are looking for. Yeah, take into account that 150 tickets are for 150 euro. Yeah, giving entrance. Priority entrance, giving a meet and greet, giving I don't know whatever, yeah, a present. 150 tickets are for 100 euro, yeah, giving secondary first entry and not a meet and greet, but a present, blah blah blah, whatever. Yeah, so it's really a fan base thing. Yeah, suddenly you find out that the revenue, yeah, you can take from 1,000 tickets is much higher than you normally would expect if you take it on a normal level of, let's say, 30, 40, 50 euro. Yeah?
We just had an experience with a band called Tokyo Hotel. Does anybody of you still remember them? And we just did a tour with them in May, and I swear they made more money from their VIP packages than from the guarantees. It was incredible. They had like 5 different VIP packages. And if you looked at their schedule, that started like at noon time, and they had different groups of fans coming at different times and being allowed different things.
Listening to the sound check, whatever.
Sound check, after party, whatever. Yeah? And it was incredible. And I sort of looked at the revenues, and they partly surpassed the guarantees that we generated from the normal tickets. So there's so many ways, that where marketing can go, and I can see with a lot of the bands that we've been working with, like Kool and the Gang is one of the bands that we've been working with for over 40 years, and they keep coming up with new stuff. Like Kool just came up with his own champagne. It's called Le Kool Champagne, and then suddenly you see him all over Facebook with drinking champagne with this guy and this guy and this guy. So, and they keep up their brand, and Kool and the Gang to this weight. And I'm very happy to see also that in some of the younger generation places, Kool and the Gang is, for instance, a very much sampled band, and they have always, connected also with the young DJs, and you have a lot of remixes of Too Hot and whatever, and Celebration, of course. So that also helps to generate and continue interest for a band if you've been in the business for a long time. And yeah.
So following up the topic that you just discussed, what's your opinion on merchandise as part of promotion?
Immediately.
Yesterday I went to a young band and they were selling Tracta, like vinyl CDs. Probably someone's buying them.
It's very fan binding, I mean, and this is another example of what Harald mentioned, where you don't have to be a big band and still have a big revenue stream. And what do you say?
Yeah.
Because he does the young acts, so.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, fan commitment is like the most important thing when you think about show promotion, because it's mouth to mouth. The super fan tells to his friends, and the more committed the fan is, the more friends he tells about it. And for example, Tokyo Hotel has a lot. Some they don't play the biggest shows, I think, but they have very committed fans who sell packages for, I don't know.
And they're very loud.
Loud. I don't know. Yeah. And if you that's the key in promoting your band, I think, to make your fans committed and tell amazing stories about your songs, with your songs, and make your fans more committed. And merchandise is a great tool for that. And you also can be very creative with that, only vinyls and vinyls and t-shirts is the basic stuff, but it really depends on the band stuff, but yeah, making your fans commit. Yeah, sure.
The artists more and more important to merch.
Partly, but you could also even give it away for free. Yeah, don't forget every fan you generate, every guy who listened to you, maybe by accident, just by passing by on a wave festival showcase, yeah, and you give him a CD, yeah, he might become an ambassador for your purposes, yeah. Listening to the CDs, maybe playing it, yeah. I mean, how do you find out about new music? Yeah? You normally find out via social media, which means via some of your friends on social media, yeah? Or maybe still because you were listening to something in a club or at an invitation from friends, yeah, where someone plays something and say, hey, what's that? Yeah, I've never listened to that. Yeah? And suddenly you find out. So the more physical product, the more options to get things around here, the more possibilities that someone who has not had the chance to listen to you in a concert yet, yeah, is connected to you by accident. Yeah.
Do you mean with influencer marketing that the band is the influencer and markets the product, or? Okay, okay. Okay.
Oh, interesting question. So in other words,
So
paying
the question
somebody to
first.
say-
Just a moment. The question was whether it does make sense to use influencers here, to pay practically influencers here to promote an artist, to promote a show, and to take it from there. You know?
Have you ever done that?
No, actually, not. I don't have experience with that. Maybe
It's a good
maybe
idea.
labels do that. I don't know. I didn't.
We haven't thought of that.
I can tell you. I organized a show for Youngblood. Youngblood is an arena act all over Europe and a headlining act at major festivals. And when he released new album, they asked the record company asked to do a bundle show, which means they sell the ticket plus the album, physical album. And he did 2 shows at Cinevin, one in the afternoon, one in the evening, and in total sold close to 1,000 tickets. Yeah, and then we discussed. I did that because the tickets had to be sold through the label's web shop. Yeah, that they count for the charts as well. And then we discussed, okay, who gets this, who gets what, yeah. And then the label had on their guest list. Yeah, they also had some influencers, which they invited to the show and stuff. So I mean, I think yeah, obviously I can remember that one of our PR guys, who works for us for the shows, promoting the shows, also once got in touch with Lena Horschig because she was at our shows, and then we discussed if she could imagine. I mean, obviously we did not pay Lena Horschig to promote the show. She did that because she was convinced of the act, But don't know. I mean, obviously. I'm so disgusted by that whole influencer topic that I would actually love to avoid that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, my opinion is I think influencer marketing is such expensive if you really do it properly. Yeah. So it does really give a real push. Yeah. That is normally is restricted to big brands or to a long-term brand building. Yeah. If you're interested and if you are able to invest on a long-term artist career, you could do it. Yeah. But I haven't really seen yet music influencers here that are such important here on a specific area. Yeah, there could be, yeah, but it's not a mainstream thing.
Maybe Marcel Brahe.
Not yet. Is it?
I would argue because those new emerging platforms like TikTok, for example, I'm seeing a huge surge of actually music influencers. So people who literally base their content around music and being
Okay.
Interesting.
music advocates, So I think that it is a huge chance, but it's just still at the beginning, of this.
You could be
journey,
absolutely right that we're starting into new ways of promoting, and I think maybe that's the secret. I mean, the development will continue. Today is different than it was yesterday, and we in our business we just have to keep on our toes and keep on rocking. Okay.
I bet that you do some sort of market research on a monthly or yearly basis. You could probably see this kind of trends slowly growing into your agency. Growth.
Absolutely.
So I was curious if you already see the signs of it, or if this is still emerging. Like those things. That's good to know. That's going to be the next big thing.
Great. Well, thank you for your input, and I think we wrap it up. It's just, yeah. So
Thanks, Harald, for the moderation.
Harald did a great job, and thank you for being here. And see you tonight at the clubs.
Okay.